I'm Dan Galusha and welcome to another edition of Shoot and Plank. Well, today I'm going to be telling you about the Accu 177. It's Gamo's Accu 177. I told you a little bit about it in a video where I did about the Gamo PT85 pistol. Well, today you're going to be able to see it. You're going to be able to see it shoot. In fact, a couple of different times. By the way, this is what they call an air glide case. It's put out by Plano. Great case for carrying pretty much any rifle, but especially if you have a scope on it. Now this does come with a scope, but we're not going to shoot it that way first. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of this stuff that I'm planning on doing. This is the rifle itself, the Accu 177. It has got, I'll rate the sights, the fiber optic sights is very, very good. They're adjustable. I really, really like them. I can't say enough. So a lot of fiber optic sights, yeah, I like fiber optic sights, period. But these are right on, and you'll hopefully be seeing that in just a little bit because we're going to be plinking with this at about 15 yards. And then we're going to mount the scope, and it comes with a scope, and this is it right here. And I'm going to talk about, in fact, this is a negative, and I've got a negative here. Not a major negative, but you'll hear just a little bit. First off, this is supposed to be 1200 feet per second if you use PDA, that's PDA, sorry, PBA, I'm going to get it right pretty soon here, platinum pellets. And it says that right on here. Otherwise, it's supposed to be about 920 feet per second. So you can probably cut that down a little bit to maybe 800. I really don't know. Don't have a meter. We can't check it out like that. I am not going to be shooting the platinum pellets. I don't have any. What we are going to shoot is a couple of different types, both of them Crossman. The one is the wad cutter, and that's going to be the first one we're going to shoot. Those will be for planking, and I'm going to show you right now on these as to loading them and what you have to do. Should have had one of these open, I guess, shouldn't I? And I'm going to load it with a pointed one to start off with. Anyway, you cannot open the breech unless you use the lever right here. That's nice because it is not a brake barrel. I like this. It's got a cocking lever, just like that, ready to go. Now, to load it, and here's the negative, and I will show you this. This is the breech that you have to load it in. We'll open it up. That's good up to that point. Like it. Now, you put your pellet down like this and slide it up in here. That's good too. Next problem, and this is the problem. Once you get it slid up in there, it doesn't mean that it's all the way up in there. And if you close it and it's not, you've just crushed the skirt, and it is not going to fire properly. You're going to have a missed fire. You may get it to fire, it's just not going to be right. So what are you going to do? Well, the scope comes with your tool to tighten it. What I do is I put the pellet up inside of here, slide it all the way down in, and then take the end of this and push it until I hear it or feel it click into place, and you can look down there. At that point, slowly close the breech, because if you do it in a hurry and you feel any resistance, you've crushed the skirt of the pellet, I'll guarantee you. So remember that. That is a drawback on this gun. And but we're going to shoot at it. Like I said, we're going to be doing some plinking first. So why don't we go do that from 15 yards. I'm going to shoot my favorite little cardboard targets that I do. And sometimes these pellets will go right through them, won't even knock them over, but I'm going to try to shoot enough, and please bear with me. Remember, this is a single shot, and it's going to take me a little bit, because if that doesn't go in there like I want, I'm going to have to get it in there, so definitely bear with me. I'll try to knock them all down. I'll keep shooting until I do, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to talk about the scope. Alright, you've seen what the fiber optic sights did. Did a pretty good job. I didn't bother picking up any of those cardboard things. You know what they look like. You've seen them as they were getting hit, and so it worked. It did what it wanted, but now we're going to put the scope on it. Now this is the thing. A lot of people would say you're going to put the scope on it and fire it without sighting it in. It's already been sighted in, and this is the funny thing about this scope. A lot of times if you take a scope off and you put it back on, it's way, way off. And I haven't been having that problem with this. Now, whether it's, I really don't know why. I guess it's a good scope. The problem that I'm having isn't the scope itself. It also has this little protector. Yeah, those are nice. They're see-through. And the problem I have, first I'm going to show you this. This is a nice feature about the scope. Right here, you'll see this little hole right in there. Okay, what that is for is right here, you can see that it's got a little pin coming out. That pin fits that hole. So when you put the scope on, that holds it in place. And that is one heck of a good feature. And I mean, it really holds it in place good. Here's the drawback. Take a look at this. The scope is low. And I do mean low, because if you really concentrate, you can see the shadow of this out here, out in the front sight. It needs to be up just a little bit higher, for two reasons. I would like to see it have a see-through mount. And what I mean by that, for those of you who don't know, see-through mount does two things. You can shoot with your scope or you can shoot with your sights. And with the fiber optic sights that this thing has, I wish you could do both. Then that way you could hold it up. If you didn't want to go through your scope, you could go down and you could get your fiber optic sights. Either way. So I wish it did have that, but it don't. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to 25 yards. Because I sighted this thing in before, probably a little less than 25 yards, but it still was doing pretty good at 25. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be shooting it freestanding. And I'm going to mount this back on. Now, I'm not going to sit here and do all of this on video. It's just going to bore you to death. And but we're going to go shoot, and then we're going to come back, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. Alright, brought the target back up, seeing what it did. Again, you can see as it's mounted, the way it is, to me it's just a little low. It needs to be up just a little bit higher in the scope. But it still did pretty doggone good, I'd say. Because as I said, this was just remounted. I didn't do any sighting in at all. This was a used shoot and see, by the way. You could tell by the little patches I had on it, which you probably seen when I was shooting it. But it didn't really do that bad. 25 yards, not being re-sighted in, just shooting. Yeah, it's a little bit high here, and I really don't know why I had that one flare, but you know, I could see it in the scope when that was way high, that one. But I also seen the pellet I loaded. In the back, it had a flaw. It had something inside of that skirt. So to be on the fair side, that might have just been a problem on that. But then of course I did shoot some others a little bit high, but still, I mean, they're right in that area. It's a pretty doggone good grouping, and I'm not unhappy with it at all. It's, you know, it's called an Accu 177, I guess it is. It's supposed to be a little bit more accurate than others. Maybe that's why the scope is on. Why it's more accurate, I don't know. To me, it's not any different than any others, and I might as well talk about the safety, by the way. This right down here is your safety. It looks like another trigger right down in here. No, that's your safety. You're not going to pull that after that. You're going to fire it there. Now it'll pull, but I'm not going to do it because I've already got this thing primed and ready again. Just decided not to shoot. So anyway, that's the way that's set up. I know you're going to wonder, okay, how am I going to rate it? I'm going to give it a 4. The reason I was going to say a 3, but I'm not going to take that many points away from it for that in here. Yes, it is a pain in the hind end to load. I'll definitely grant you that. But make sure that you have something like this little thing to poke it on down in, and the pellets will turn on you trying to load them in. That's why it took me a little bit, and yeah, like I said, the breech and the loading there, that's kind of a pain in the hind end. It swings open good, the pellet goes in good this way, and sometimes you can slide them right in, but still, look at it, because if you're going to crush the skirt, she's not going to fire. The scope is lower, so I'm going to drop it to a 4 because of the scope ought to be a little bit higher, the mounts rather should be a little bit higher on the scope, otherwise it's a good scope. I do think that this is a 4x32, by the way, on a scope. I do think that the scope that comes with the Gamo Swarm is a little bit better. It just seems like it's also a bigger scope, but this one does a very, very good job. I'm not gonna say, I mean, you see what it did here. So it did a very, very good job, especially when you figure I'm shooting freestanding. I'm not using a bench rest or anything like that. I'm just pulling it up and putting it on the target and firing. And so that way it's good. I wish that it shot at 1200 FPS without being those platinum pellets, those PBA platinum pellets, but you know, that's just one of the things. It's definitely a good plinker. There's no doubt about that. You've seen that. She knocked those other things off with the fiber optic sights, and as far as using the scope for plinking, you know you're going to be hitting those things. It's going to do real good. So until next time, shoot safe and have a great day of plinking.